my friends. Well, continuing on with our 1976 Bally flip-flop. Let's see, so far we've got the bottom mech all done. We got the back box mech panel all done, sitting right there. We got everything done on our bottom of our playing field. We did our flip-flop unit, which is sitting right here, ready to go in when we're ready to put it in. And now what we have to do is we're going to rebuild some flippers. Yep, that's okay. We're going to rebuild the flippers on this. We're going to do the bottom too. My other kit for the top two hasn't come in yet, so we're going to get these two done, and at least those two will be done. That way we can flip the playing field over. Well, we can put everything back together, and maybe we can get it plugged in and see what we have going on. So in this episode we're going to rebuild the flippers, and we'll rebuild the chime unit. I have the kit to rebuild the chime unit, and like I said, I have one kit here from Marco to rebuild these ones. We'll do the bottom two first. At least those two will be out of the way, and then later on, when we have to flip this back over anyway, once we're done with the top playing field, to get our pop bumpers all hooked up, because we have to take them off the playing field. So those are just unhooked with one nut holding the bracket down, and we got our hot wire with a wire nut on it, so when we flip it over and put everything back in it, we can at least plug it in and see what we got going on, see if we have some lights or anything. So I'll get you set up in the tripod, and we'll get started on rebuilding the flippers. Alright, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our flipper off, which is held on with 2 set screws. That one wasn't tight at all. Now I'll reach down through the door that's open, and there's our flipper with our shoe. Nice rubber. Okay, now let's see, now we'll take the coil. Well, we got to get the coil up out of here so we can inspect all of that. Kit comes with a new coil stop. There's not a whole lot to these, redoing these. I got a screw down in the cabinet. It doesn't sound too good, does it? Okay, coil stop. A little hammered, but not terrible. Save your pressure washer. You can see how it's got that hammered. And the clip's missing off of that one. See, there should be a E-clip on there. You can look at the play. Well, thank God we got new ones. But yeah, the E-clip's missing off of that. The crank assembly is probably still good, so we'll hang on to the crank assembly. But that's doo-doo. Coil sleeve. And we'll be changing our end of stroke switch. So we'll have to get the soldering gun fired up. Now we'll take off our bushing. And let's see, where's our flipper? You can see that's had some moisture down on it. But, you know, the bushing's not bad, but we don't care. We're not going to be reusing it. But we do have to, I'll have to take a look. I don't know if I have any new bats or not. Let me go take a look, and while I'm doing that, I'll get my soldering station fired up and get it heating up. Alright, now what we got to do is we have to unsolder our end of stroke switch. Okay. Now I'll take off the old end of stroke switch. Keeping your screws, because you're going to need them. Get out of there. You can see how bad that end of stroke switch is worn and how dirty it is. It's actually got a groove wore in it up top here. So that one has been on there for a day or two. Get a new end of stroke switch. Get our wires put back on. Left side, because once this is flipped over, then this is the left side. And our sleeve. Need our coil stop. New arm. Spring. Okay, now let's get our link put together, and I need my pliers. Let's see if I can, there we go. That's what was missing. Now did I get the right side? Nope. Oh, come on. There we go. That's the way she's going to go down in there. Okay. Get our spring. Put that up on there. Get our sleeve put in our coil. coil stop. You can get down in there without that. There we go. Without the screw falling out. Oh shit. Why didn't you remind me? You're standing right there. You watched me take it apart. But yet, you let me forget something. You let me forget that compression washer. Now we can get our coil stop put in. Sorry about that. You didn't mind, did you? I know you didn't feel a thing, huh? Okay, now we're ready to put our flipper back on. And guess what I found? I found a new bag of flipper shoes. Which doesn't fit. Screw's too small. Well, shit the bed, huh? Okay, put a new flipper bat on. That's ready to go up in the playing field. But I am not going to install it because I'm going to pull them off to clean the playing field. But basically what you do is loosen up your screws. Okay, all you got to do is push your flipper up through and then tighten up your set screws and you'll be ready. Let me, where are you at? Let me tighten this up a little bit so it'll hold, and then you'll have to adjust your end of stroke switch. You can see it's not even touching it. Let me get you down. You can see that we're not even touching our end of stroke switch. So we will adjust it back a little. There we go. You want it to open it right out on the end of the stroke. Just as it's hitting the back, hitting your stop, you want that switch to open. You don't want it opening halfway down, because these coils, your flipper coils, are 2 coils in one. So you have the 2 windings in here, 25 gauge at 500 wraps, 26 gauge at 1000 wraps. And with the end of stroke, when you hit the flipper button, what it does is it gives you full strength on your coil, which pulls it down. But then when it hits the end of the stroke here, this switch opens and kills half the power to this. In a sense, it cuts it down from one big coil to one smaller coil, because you don't need as much juice and as much power to hold your flipper up as you do to flip the ball. So actually it's kind of 2 coils in one. It'll cut one coil when it opens the end of stroke switch, and then you're just using the small one, the 500 winding, or whichever one it comes out to hold the coil, to hold the ball up, or to hold the flipper up to hold the ball. And then when you release it, the switch closes, and now you have full strength of the coil again. When you hit the button, it hits the ball with full strength, and when it comes to the end, it opens up and kills half of the power to the coil. So you're only running on part of the coil. That's the best way I can explain it. I'm sure somebody else can explain it better, but I don't know all the terminology in that. All I know is I know how this stuff works. But we'll take our flipper back out so we can clean the bottom of the playing field. Our bottom? Well, it's the bottom now. We're going to flip it over and we'll clean the top. Without the flippers, I'll take the other flippers off as well, the top flippers, so we can clean under those too. So I have this one. I'll get this one rebuilt, and then once I have this one done, then we're going to rebuild our chime unit and get that all squared away so it's ready to go in too. So when we put the bottom mech in, we can put the bottom mech panel in, and we can get the chime unit put in, and I can get my coin door put back on. Okay, we got them both rebuilt, both sides. And as you can see, this one, same thing, right at the end of stroke switch opens. This one's a little stiffer than this one. But we'll play it and it'll loosen up. And the worst thing about them was the link, our nylon link in here. This one was actually still had the E-clip on it. That one didn't, and the links were the worst part, where we were losing some power, and our end of stroke switches were totally wore out. This one here is getting ready to be wore all the way through and break off. That one you can see, same. It's alright. Now with our flippers done as far as we can go, now let's rebuild this chime unit. dude for something else too. Our rods. Take our coils off. Now these you have to take both top and bottom. Because you can't get it out of there unless you do. Should all be the same. New sleeve, old sleeve. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll get these other two coils out of here. Then I'm going to clean everything up. I'll wash it down, so if you do have to work on it some other time, you stick your hand on it, you're not going to get all black from it. So I'll get it cleaned up and looking as good as we can anyway. And if you run into a screw that doesn't want to come out, what you can do is you take a chisel, or a punch I should say, in your hammer, and if you put it right on the side of the screw and just give it a sharp hit. Watch it make a liar out of me. Nope, see, that one's still. I don't want to hit it too hard because I don't want to bust our bellow here. So let's take it off because it's just plastic. And if you hit it too hard, it's going to bust this plastic. Now you don't have to worry about breaking that plastic. You can get a hold of that and give it a good sharp rap with your chisel, with your punch, and now it'll come out. Not sure of the physics behind it, but it works. Most of the time what it is when you hit it, it will, if it's rusted, it'll knock the rust off the screw. See, there's another one. Or if when you hit it, it actually shrinks It'll actually, when you hit it, it will shrink, or it'll elongate it. It smashes the head down onto the plate and will create just a little bit of a space in there from hitting it. That's what I figure anyway. I mean, you can use a impact, but a lot of these places you can't get down in with an impact. So I just use the punch method. And don't wait till your screw head's all screwed up before you try and do it. Do it while you still have a good head on your screw. Okay. That's how those go back in there. You don't want to mix them up so you have the hundredths ringing the 10 bell. So I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to mark these. So I know how they go back on there. And down here. So I know how they go back on. Now you don't have to worry. You can throw everything in, wash it all up, get everything all cleaned up, and still remember how everything goes back down in. It's pretty self-explanatory, that these will not. It's kind of hard to get them mixed up because those two are tied together. That one's not. So, whatever. Just so there's no question. I just do it. Now, looking at these rods, you can tell this one has a little bit of a mushroom down here on the, can you see that? Okay. You can see it's got a little bit of a burr and it's starting to mushroom. The other two are not. So I'm willing to bet this was the 10. So we're going to put that in the 1,000. That way it's not going to be used, you know, as much as the other ones. And we're just going to put our rubber isolators in. Put our little brass spacers in there. Put that on. Get our canuts back on it. Okay, I'll get the other two done and we should be just about finished up with our Chimes unit. Okay, now those are all set to go in. I think all I have left is I'll clean up this Jones plug a little bit. And by God, we're going to be ready to put that in.
Hello?
Yes. Oh, that finishes up two more items on the checklist, I guess. Got our chimes, our sound card all rebuilt. Got our flippers. These two, anyway, our bottom two rebuilt. Waiting on the kit for the top ones. We'll get those done. So now we're going to be able to start reassembling this and see what we got. So that'll be the next episode where we start reassembling, putting the bottom mech panel in. We'll get our back box mech unit put in. Before I do that, I'm gonna clean the cabinet. You've watched me clean cabinets before. This one's not that bad, so we'll just get it kind of cleaned up and looking a little more presentable. See if I can't get some of the yellow out of it. And we can start reassembling. We get it all reassembled, and then we can plug it in and see what happens. We can hold our breath or run for the door. So I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. So until next time, down here, right there. See ya.